Hello, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram users. FOBO Fuego here with another episode of Burning the Salt. But this is the Super Bowl edition. We just saw the game. I say we because I have a special guest. I have not had a guest on this podcast in a long time, and it's a doozy. You want to say hello?
What's up, guys?
It is Todd, my good friend from ITT Tech / Actually, that's the only place I know where we met.
Yep.
So he came over to my house, watched the game, and 23-20, the Rams take it, and wow, how would you describe the game?
The game was great. I mean, the Rams basically had the lead most of the first half. Actually, all the first half. With then it turning around with the Bengals the second half, having the lead all the way down to at least like the last minute and a half of the football game. I mean, it was just impressive. And usually with a team with a defense as good as the Rams usually just dominate that defense usually just dominates the offense. The offense doesn't get a chance to score, but I have to say the kids from LA or from LSU, Burrow and Chase, and the rest of the Bengals put up a pretty damn good fight.
All things considered, the fact that Cincinnati was considered the underdog team. And on both ends, from from the offense to the defense on both sides were insane. Because literally, the beginning of the game, it was very offensive in the beginning. You would see scores happen left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Cincinnati took the lead, defense just all of a sudden just kicked into high gear.
Yeah.
And it was kind of refreshing. You didn't see a lot of yellow flags up until the end. Until the end of the game, but you would see the game just flow, and there were just quick stoppages, like sacks.
Yeah.
Left and right.
Mm-hmm.
The game was it was one of my favorite games that I've actually seen.
Yeah.
And considering how everyone was talking about, Kansas City's going to take it, Green Bay's going to take it,
mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay's going to take it.
Yeah.
These two teams took them out.
Yeah.
Out of the running, and showed that they can hang.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, we could actually say that, like you said, they're kids.
Yeah.
They're young. I would not be surprised if they come back in the next few years.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, even next year.
Morrow was I'll give him. You told me an interesting fact about him. He had won a Heisman Trophy. Won in what else?
He won the national championship at LSU, and if he won the Super Bowl tonight, he would have been. I believe he would have become the first player ever to win all three.
That's insane. I didn't know that. I always thought there at least was one.
I know, you would have thought at least Montana would have been the one to do it. But
it's like, well, I think he did. I think he did make history. I think he was sacked 8 times.
Yeah, it was
because by the time we saw it, it was 7 times. But the last one that got him, was that considered a sack?
No. He got rid of the ball in time.
He got rid
of the ball in time. It was not considered a sack.
Okay, so in that case, he's tied for the most sacks in the game
with Staubach.
But you know what though? How many times was the quarterback on the Rams side got got sacked.
Oh, and
Because he got sacked a lot too.
yeah. Let me look.
While Todd's looking that up, like I just want to say, like hope everyone's enjoying their Sunday evening. My wife is certainly enjoying it. She has the day off. Lucky her. And like everyone, I know everyone's having a fun time trying to watch the game and do their cookouts, which was a very beautiful day. A little chilly, but it was very beautiful.
Yeah, Stafford was only sacked twice.
Twice?
Twice all game.
Okay. Now that you're there, look up Morrow. See if it shows 7.
Burrow?
Yeah.
Burrow 7.
7. Okay. So he's tied for the most sacked. Now, the beginning of this like of the game, it was like one of those things. Like okay, they're going back and forth. The opening drive in the third quarter, in the second half, was a touchdown. Literally, the next play, an interception was made.
Yeah.
And times like this, you would think whiskey cake. Yes, one more some whiskey cake. You have to have that before you leave, dude. Yeah, you have to have that at least. So the fact that from there you thought, okay, they have the lead, but the way that they were playing, it was not going to be a comfortable lead.
No.
Well, I will say this: they held on to that lead, but like you said, all the way up to the end. It was heartbreaking.
And guys, here's the crazy thing. Burrow was stat-wise, if you eliminate the sacks, he was actually the better quarterback that game. Stafford's QB rating was an 89.9. Burrow's was a 101.
Dude. But he eventually missed one pass.
Burrow went 22 of 33. He only had 11 incomplete passes the whole game compared to Stafford. Stafford had 14. He went 26 for 40 with 2 interceptions. Burrow...
He did not intercept the ball at all.
Burrow did not throw a single interception all game.
So he technically played the perfect game.
He pretty damn close.
Now, not only that, the kicker from Cincinnati, he was 100%.
Yes, he was.
Now, was he just 100% in the postseason or all season?
Let's see.
Because to me that was interesting whenever they said that he's actually like
Let's see. He was. Nope, that's the. Hang on. Wrong stats. There we go. Yes, the kicker was 100% regular season. He was not 100% in the regular season. He missed 3.
Out of how many?
He was perfect from 29 to 20 to 29, perfect from 30 to 39, 40 to 49. He was he made 6, he attempted 9, missed 6. In 50 plus, he attempted 11. Oh, he attempted 9, made 6. In 50 plus, he attempted 11 and made 9. But yeah, the postseason, all perfect.
So when it counted the most in the postseason, that's when it counted most, where he actually did the better percentage. Is there any like thoughts of the game that you were like that caught you by? Now there was one play that was kind of a little controversial from Cincinnati about the face mask.
Oh yeah,
we were looking at that earlier. And we didn't know. Okay, Todd, this is whiskey cake. Have you ever had this before?
No, I have not.
Hey Google, turn on the light.
That's pineapple in it. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were allergic to pineapple. I'm sorry. I didn't know. You didn't know either?
I knew I was allergic to touching pineapple, but not actually eating it, which is crazy. Really good. Really, really good. Yeah, back to that play. That complete pass where it was, basically one of the Rams' best corner. The receiver came up and he put his hand on the corner's face mask. And then when he pulled it away, it almost looked like we weren't sure if he actually grabbed it and turned the defender's head away from the football, or as he was pulling it down, his finger just happened to get caught on the face mask, and it was an accidental face mask. Either way, it didn't matter. The refs didn't see it, which was very, very lucky on the Bengals' part. But yeah, the calling for the zone defense on the Rams' last scoring drive was the big mistake, especially when the pressure was getting to Stafford.
Wait, Todd. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's an old lady on screen right now. Is she the oldest football player? I don't want to say old lady, but she's like
Up there.
She looks elderly. I didn't mean to cut you off, Todd. I'm sorry. Sorry. So as this is going on right now, we're also watching the Olympics.
Actually, no. She is 36 years old.
She don't look 36. She don't look 36.
Yeah, it's very tough to tell.
Okay, I'm sorry. You were saying, Todd?
But the Rams, what confused me was, unless the Bengals defense was just absolutely wore out, them doing the zone defense on the Rams' last scoring drive, which is what I don't get. That and the penalties
that started to add up.
So that's the only thing I can think of is, yeah, the Bengals defense was absolutely worn out by the end of that game. And the other thing was the Bengals calling for a running play on 3rd and 1, going towards the Rams' best defender, Donald. I don't know why you would
She got gold.
do that.
She did it.
Congratulations to Miss Humphreys for getting the U.S. gold in the premiere of the...
I don't think it's gold, but I think she has first place.
I believe it's going to end up being... I believe this was all done earlier in the day, actually.
Well, it says live on there.
Well, they are playing.
Well, they're in China right now.
So yeah, it's a different time.
Yeah, it is a different time zone. But if I spoil it for anybody, I'm sorry.
Yeah, man. Probably one of my subscribers are like, listen to the podcast just for the Olympic coverage, and you spoiled it
for
for
the
them.
unexpected Olympic coverage.
Yeah,
They're going to sleep and they're waking up.
But as I said, the best, going towards their best defender on that front line. Why? Why? When you got Burrow that hasn't thrown an interception all game, you could have called for a short pass, and they would have still been going down, driving the field, and possibly, if not getting a touchdown, we could still be watching the game right now in overtime.
dude, would you imagine if it went overtime?
That would have been crazy.
So like I was looking at it as they might have going through something. I think they possibly saw something that I think they saw something that we really couldn't see because there had to been a reason why.
Uh,
I would like to think there's a reason why that they didn't
Could
do
be.
that. Injuries were starting to pile up.
mm-hmm.
We saw how many people fall? At least maybe 5 people, 4
Mhm.
people.
With the
Torn knee.
and possibly a torn ACL for Beckham again.
The quarterbacks getting jacked up.
One of my favorite.
There you go. USA's actually won too.
Yep. Gold and silver. So for the fact that we had injuries piling up, and then the possibility, like the quarterback's getting injured, that added more fuel to the fire of like, man, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. I do tell you that the couple confrontations that they had out on the field between the Bengals and the Rams, that was fueled probably both teams for the longest time.
Dude, the fights almost broke out.
Pretty close.
All in all, I was impressed by the game. I was very entertained.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I might keep an eye on like a Cincinnati for the next few seasons. Okay, so talk about the game. Let's talk about the halftime show. If y'all don't know this, guys, Todd is an OG. Todd was raised in the streets of New York.
Yes, in the little town of Wilson, New York.
Which was they're known to be part of the KKK. So Todd knows a little bit about gangs, gangs if you know what I mean. No, but it was enjoyable. It was fun.
It was fun.
We got to see Thick 50 Cent hang upside down.
Yeah, Thicky Cent. Thicky Cent. I may add.
Mm-hmm. Thick 50 Cent, and it was funny because looking at the game, looking at the performance actually, what was I saying?
Mm-hmm.
The stage was way different.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a traditional stage. It was
No.
more of an actual like
Almost like a street.
Yeah.
Almost. A small little section of street in Compton.
yeah, it looked cool.
It looked pretty cool.
It looked really cool. And then you had Mary J. Blige, you had Kendrick Lamar, like we mentioned, 50 Cent,
Dre.
Dr. Dre. I was happy to see Dr. Dre again.
Snoop Dogg.
Eminem. They were literally like they were throwing it down, dude. It was fun.
And I'm gonna call out my friend Josh. I know you are a DJ and everything, and you know your music, but you know what? You have to agree with me though, even though you did not like the halftime show. It's been the freaking best halftime show that they've had over the past, from the previous 9-10 years of halftime shows. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. Well, look, I'll say this. You can't talk bad about J-Lo and Shakira.
J-Lo and Shakira were good.
You can't talk bad about Lady Gaga, because even though they make fun of her, she performed the fuck out of that show in Houston. Freaking Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars is alright.
That was good.
That one was good too. So, I'll say this. They were good halftime shows, but I do get where you're coming from, because this was the better in the fact that they gave them a little bit more free reign. Because, believe it or not, rap was not considered to be halftime show material. You know? Right? Because they're like, no, it's too violent, it's too It's it's gangster, but they did it.
They did it, and they did it clean.
They did it clean.
They did it clean.
I told Todd you can't say the N word over here. I don't want to get canceled next. I just but we were like, because not being for real, like there have been good halftime shows, but I feel like each time that they do one, they keep inching it closer and closer and closer to where they're like, you know what? It's been almost 20 years since the Janet Jackson debacle, and what was that good?
But the one thing I was sick of was it was pop music year after year after year after year.
Wait, when you were doing that, I'm sorry, the figure skaters were bobbing their heads up and down like year after year after year.
I mean,
look like that. Look. Do it again.
I mean, that was the biggest thing that annoyed me with the NFL was just the same genre of music for the halftime shows. And it just kind of got monotonous after a while. Oh, look.
The Who.
Another pop group or a pop singer.
Or
it's
pop-up.
like...
You know who I wish they would have actually had for the Super Bowl one year? And I'm surprised that they never really approached them for it. The guy that sings Gangnam Style. At least for one, they kind of like...
He would be more like a guest that someone would have to ask them to come. My crazy idea, and I know people are probably gonna laugh, but to me it makes a lot of sense because of all the songs he's done over the years. All the parodies is Weird Al.
Who?
We should have him on there. I think it'll be very interesting to have him on there.
It's Weird Al because you think about it. He's done
clean.
He's clean. He's done parodies of like Bruno Mars songs, Madonna songs.
Any artist you can think of, he's done it.
Any artist you can think of, he's done it.
Coolio for Gangster Paradise, Amish Paradise. Michael Jackson has Eat It.
Can you imagine, especially if Michael Jackson was still around, could you imagine having Weird Al up on the stage and him singing Like a Surgeon and Madonna popping up behind him, coming on and singing that song with him?
That'd be funny.
And then Bruno coming on, and then Coolio. Even though Coolio hated Amish Paradise. At first.
But he ended up loving Al because whenever they went to go do an award show, they gave Weird Al Coolio dreadlocks.
Exactly.
And Coolio was laughing his ass off.
Exactly.
He was like, okay, you know what, you're crazy.
I think after that, Coolio gave Weird Al a pass.
Yeah. He's an honorary gangster member. Okay, so my wife just passed me something from her phone. For context, for how old these people are.
Fun
facts. Eminem's 49 years old. Snoop Dogg is 50 years old. Mary J. Blige is 51 years old. And Dr. Dre is 56 years old.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, how great was it to see Dr. Dre out there? I mean, He
was recently in the hospital.
He had a health scare not that long ago.
Yeah, he was. No, it wasn't COVID. It was something else.
I think it was something with his heart or
look it up.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Was it last year or was it in 2020? I remember reading that it happened, and I was like, oh no, that sucks. And I honestly thought that he was like out of shape and he might have been overweight. He looked good. He looked really good.
He did look real good.
Now, I don't know if you noticed.
Brain aneurysm.
Oh.
He had a brain aneurysm. And
when?
But as I said, it was... Let's see, when was it? It was actually just back... It
wasn't that long ago, was it?
It was in January 2021.
It's been over a year.
It's been over a year since he's had his
Aneurysm.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad they were able to take care of it.
Oh yeah, because we all know this would not have probably been a halftime show without Dre.
We were talking about because think about it. Whenever they did the whole okay, we're gonna, like I said, the Janet Jackson debacle, and they were like saying, okay, we need to change up the genres, make it more clean. At the time, a lot of the artists they were in their 50s or in their late 40s, and you're talking about like rock, you're talking about like pop, you're talking about like way past their prime. This one was one of the few that actually was like, yeah, they're old, and it used to be a running joke. Remember, people used to joke around, oh man, they're gonna get freaking who's an old Willie Nelson one day on the stage once more. He's over like what 90 now. I don't know how old he is now.
I think he's 80s. I think.
Okay, Todd's looking at that too. But you understand what I'm saying though, right? Like it was a joke, but now
he's 88 years old.
But now it's not really a joke anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not much of a joke anymore because we're in that norm where, like, believe it or not, when we were growing up, like you're like 7 years older than us, right? But the fact that we were actually like growing up with not the same thing, but like you already knew of gangster rap. You already knew of the styles of it, you know. And whenever I was around that time, I was getting the concept of music down. And we're like, oh, this sounds cool, you know. It sounds because where I lived or I used to live at, it's not really considered the hood, but it's considered to be like a little bit more urban.
Yeah.
But if you really look at it, whenever they say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige," and whenever they announced it from like a few weeks ago, I was stoked.
So was I.
I was like, dude, that's like our generation of rap music. That's rap music.
I mean, with being right there with the Super Bowl and being LA, and you got Compton literally
there
down the road from SoFi. I mean, you gotta have that. You gotta have them there.
I was surprised, and you were even thinking this too, that they did not bother doing a Tupac hologram.
We're all waiting for it.
Yeah, and they've only done it, maybe once for like Coachella a long time ago. But you would think that it would, like, if it ever crossed their mind, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you think the reaction would have been if they actually would have done that?
I think it would have been crazy. I think if they could have done it, you know, the stadium, I think the stadium would have just blown up. Everybody at home would have just blown up if there was a Tupac hologram that showed up. You know? But also, there would have been a lot of motion with Dre and Snoop because they knew Tupac very well. They're all considered like Snoop and Tupac at one point were best friends until they had a falling out. But
okay, I remember you mentioning that to me, but I'll tell you after you're done explaining on what you're about to say, because I just remembered something when you told me that. I just couldn't remember right off the top of my head. But I didn't know this, but you had mentioned that Snoop was supposed to ride with Tupac and who else?
And Suge Knight. After they came back, Snoop did an interview. I think it was out on the East Coast, and I think this is how it was supposed to go. Snoop was being interviewed, and they asked the person interviewing. She asked him, "Would you do an album with?" I believe Biggie and Puffy, I think, were the two. And Snoop goes, "Oh hell yeah, we're best friends." And that's one of the big things with Snoop is he was never really had a side on the West Coast East Coast.
He was more neutral
rivalry. He was more in the neutral. But when Suge Knight and Tupac heard him say that, they didn't talk to him. They were on the plane and they never talked. And Snoop tried after the plane landed. Snoop tried talking to Tupac, and Tupac blew him off.
Now, and it was there on that time. A few moments later, that car ride was supposed to have been Snoop with them, and then that's when the stuff went down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They went their separate ways, and shortly after is when the car was shot up. And even Snoop, even the falling out, Snoop still went to the hospital to be there with Tupac, to hopefully be able to talk it out, but
unfortunately he died.
Unfortunately, Tupac didn't come through.
Now, the one thing I'll say is they had a falling out. Snoop talked to his mother and basically told her what happened, and like, this is the last thing that happened with, that I was, because technically I was there with him until that happened, and she basically forgave Snoop. She gave him that closure because he was like, he knew he loved Tupac.
Yeah.
She knew that.
Oh yeah, she knew that. And
the fact that went down, she knew how heartbroken he was, and she even said to it, was like, it would have been 3 people that night. It would have been more. It would have been Snoop added to that.
Mm-hmm.
Would you imagine a world just like right now? It's kind of a little weird to kind of think about it. A world without Snoop Dogg.
Man.
Knowing what he's been doing as of late, what he's been doing in the past, and he's has an empire. He's generally having fun. He's literally. You just told me today he's the new owner of Death Row
Records.
Yeah. Imagine if the roles were flipped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which has been crazy. No Snoop.
And they played California Love from Tupac, which is like
that was Dre and Tupac's song, California Love. So yeah, you did get a little bit of
you got a reference from him.
Reference with Dre, but you noticed Snoop didn't even. He was just stand there. He did not. He knew that was Dre and Tupac's song, and
he would have if Dre would have told him, like, I think, like I said, all of this had to been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell that all this had to been talked about.
And I'm sure Dre asked Snoop, "Would you go ahead and rap this song with me?" And Snoop probably said, out of respect to Tupac, no, because that was y'all's song. He probably wouldn't have felt right if he jumped in to do that song with Dre.
Snoop already had a few songs already, though.
Yeah.
He had, like, what, 3?
3 or...
Yeah.
3 or 4? 3, maybe.
They were all good songs, too.
Oh, yeah. Just disappointed. The one thing, I think it was the one song that him and Dre did together, I think it was Gin and Juice. I'm surprised they did not do Gin and Juice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was one of Snoop's big songs.
Of course, a lot of editing had to be done. Like a lot of word tuning and lyric changing.
Oh yeah.
but I was very happy with the performance. It was very entertaining. I agree with you with this. This is, if not the best performance that's been done in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say the last few are not that good. I'm sorry, I can't. Because they've been good ones. They've been good ones, even to the point where my dad was like, he doesn't like a lot of the music stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up loving it a lot. And I don't know if you noticed during the performance. Did you notice that Eminem took a knee? Did you notice that?
Wow, yeah, I think I may have, but
Yeah,
just.
Did you know that they told him not to do it?
Of course, Eminem,
and he did it. But you know what though? He did it for. He did it for black people. He did it for their culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, which is like, that's a powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically saying like don't forget. There's still an issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean this is a guy that just last year, cancer culture went after his ass hard,
and he fought them off.
He fucking fought right back. He was just like, "Fuck you, cancer culture. I don't give a shit what you say. I'm still gonna do my music my way. I ain't gonna listen to you. You ain't canceling me anytime soon."
It's insane that because Myra and I went to Gabriel Iglesias, to a stand-up special in Houston. Actually, it's the next vlog entry in the YouTube channel, which I have been super. Actually, I'm lying. The next one is from October. Then I went to go see my brother, and then it was Gabriel Iglesias. I've been super lazy on getting these vlogs. I've been getting footage. Actually, no lie, I should be getting footage right now, but I only got it in the beginning. I didn't get any footage of you. I wanted you to be in the vlog.
Mm-hmm.
But we watched the game. We lost track of time, but we'll do it next time.
Yeah, we'll do it next time.
But the fact that he talked about that they were trying to cancel Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
He's a cartoon character, for God's sakes.
They were trying to cancel him because it was a bad representation of Mexicans. And you know what our people said? You leave him alone.
Exactly.
We love him. And it's not even a bad representation. Now, there's an argument of Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Yes, exactly.
He's
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And the slowest mouse in all Mexico.
Yeah, I can see that would be an issue.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a fight that could do that. But Speedy, no, you can leave him alone. But he basically stepped up for Speedy, and he, got him to stay in the movie because they took out Pepe Le Pew because they was trying to consider him all rapey and stuff. But
you gotta understand, that was not your generation. If it was your generation with Pepe Le Pew and all that, yes. But to Pepe Le Pew, that was just, he literally just mistakes a cat as a skunk after the cat gets white paint on the back. And it's just, I'm not trying to say that
what he did was right.
What he did was right, or that we definitely know her getting the white paint on her tail has always been an accident.
So I will say this: they always come up with a clever way of making that work.
But here's the crazy thing: even though I saw previews of Space Jam 2, the trailer and all that, HBO Max has a Looney Tunes show, and cancel culture got HBO Max to take away Elmer Fudd's and Yosemite Sam's guns.
They gave him Elmer Fudd a scythe.
A scythe, yeah. But here's the crazy thing: if you saw the trailer to Space Jam, guess who had his guns in Space Jam?
You want a plate to go? Yeah. Please.
Please, thank you. Yosemite Sam had his guns.
Did Elmer get his gun?
I don't know, but I know Yosemite Sam had his 6-shooters in the movie.
Now, this is what I understand. What you do may have a consequence later down the line. I do get that, but you can't. It's not like whenever the Holocaust happened, like like with the Nazis. And that's different. Whenever because of what went down, they had to do something. You had to say, "Hey, what you did was wrong," because people died. These are cartoons.
Exactly.
These are cartoons that we watch, and believe it or not, they weren't meant for kids. They were meant for adults because they were like the original run.
That's the fact.
Yeah, the original run was they were supposed to be put in between in a movie like for intermission, just to kill time.
But also, they're actually supposed to be played. They're also played on TV for adults after work.
Yeah,
to help them relieve stress, give them something to laugh about. And you know what? I will tell you something, people. And my friend Oscar will tell you too. We sat there and watched Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd go after Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck with guns.
firing at
them. And I will tell you right now, it never made me go out and want to chase people with freaking damn guns, for God's sake.
Or chase your animals.
Or chasing animals. Or whatever with guns. But it's like, y'all are ridiculous. It's a cartoon character.
Like you do understand the fact that it's supposed to be a joke.
Exactly.
You get that. Everyone a lot of people get that. What people don't get is the ones that are like the newer generation that are like more like as you could say, quote unquote woke. They're like, oh man, this needs to be checked. This needs to be these need to be taken out because of this stuff going on. No, I'll say this because of I don't know if you know this, MGM Graham, the ones that do Tom and Jerry. I remember watching a DVD that had the original Tom and Jerry cartoons, and Whoopi Goldberg came out in the very beginning of the DVD, and she's talking about what you're about to see these cartoons back in the day, when they were very popular. She made the point of saying like, all of these cartoons are not edited. They have not been altered. You're gonna see them the way that they were intended. Because of the fact that if you actually edit the past, you're never gonna learn from it. It has to exist. It has to exist. What's up, Jedi? It has to exist, and you have to be, we have to learn from it. Now, there's World War II cartoons of Donald Duck wanting to be a Nazi. There's like Popeye cartoons where he's fighting like very racist looking Chinese people. But guess what? It's not like it was a product of his time. Like the whole blackface thing. That's very controversial even to this day.
It's still controversial.
It's still controversial. But we have to know the origin where it came from. We have to know why it became a thing.
I mean, it mainly the blackface became a thing is because at the time there weren't really black actors at the time that could come in and play those parts. That's why. That's one of the reasons why blackface came in, because it was a white person playing a black character. I mean, back then, it It's just how things were in Hollywood.
It wasn't just black people too, like Chinese, Asian people got it, Mexicans, we got it too. Although for us it wasn't that hard. It's just have to get a white person and tan them and give them dark hair. But it was one of those. It's like like cancel culture to me is like you're always going to actually walk. They're like, oh, you gotta walk on thin ice because you have to be careful what you say.
Even if it's something you said like over 20, 30 years ago. And, cancel culture, I mean...
They look for stuff.
Cancel culture literally pretty much headhunts for something that somebody said wrong in the past 20, 30 years ago. And you don't take in consideration that it was a mistake, that the person probably learned from it.
It was a different time.
It was a different time back then. But, I can see now if somebody now still is, if those actors are still saying those things now, yeah, then that's understandable with you trying to get them canceled now. But if it's something that's 20, 30 years ago, I mean, you gotta realize times are different back then. It's just, it was a lot of stuff that we never really thought of. We just kind of, and we just kind of went on with our lives.
Yeah. Like the perfect example would be like movie Rush Hour. At the time when it came out, it was a lot of, I don't want to say racist jokes, but it was a lot of ethnic jokes in there. One of my favorite jokes in the movie towards the end, he's chasing one of the Asian Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's chasing one of the main Asian villains. Actually, the main Asian villain. He was chasing him, and he finds him, and he sees one of Chris Tucker's partners wounded. He got gunned down, and Chris Tucker catches up to him, and the Asian guy points the gun at his partner. And Chris Tucker tells him, I thought I'd find your sweet and sour chicken looking ass. And I laughed my ass off. Because you don't hear that now. You can't hear that joke anymore. It's a product of its time. And even back then, that was considered like, oh crap, like I can't believe he said that. But it was a joke meant to be like, that's the character. That's the character of Chris Tucker. Like he's making fun of the person and just comparing it to like a traditional Asian plate.
I mean, and even in Romeo Must Die with Jet Li and Aaliyah and Anthony Anderson's character kept calling Jet Li's character, kept going, dim sum.
Yeah, I remember that.
Every time. And as I said, it was just the product of the age. But as I said, we don't see you trying to get like Chris Tucker or Anthony Anderson canceled for...
They're not the ones that wrote the joke.
They're not the ones that wrote the joke, but yet I'm surprised y'all are not trying to get them like canceled and gone and everything like that. I mean, even when in the first Rush Hour, when Chris Tucker first met Jackie Chan, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
About the sweetness.
Yeah. Myra likes that joke too. So we were talking, like I said, we were talking about it. We were like, and I even talked to one of my old coworkers, Cookie. Cool man, very cool old man.
Cookie's awesome.
Yeah, he's a very cool man. He'll make fun of you, but in an endearing way. Mm-hmm. It's a weird way to put it. He told me, he goes, to my face, because of me, because of my people, that the Ford Explorers kept flipping over. And I'm like, why? Because you keep putting too many people in there. And I looked at him and I was like, you motherfucker. But you know what? I laughed. I laughed because it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me after that, he goes, "Look, the fact that you understood that that was a joke
Mm-hmm.
tells me that you are a cool person." And we joke like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done jokes with him too. Where like and he heard like we're talking about like, oh yeah, I've been putting up plants, and then I said and I look around, look at Cookie, I go, I'm sorry, Cookie. I didn't say plantation, I said plants. And he gave me this look like, ooh. So we joke around like that. That's how we joke around, and we respect each other for it because you know better than anybody when you work with people. Sometimes work sucks.
Exactly.
Work sucks, and then you're like, but if you find people that can joke with you and know for a fact that it's not supposed to hurt you, it makes your days go by so much faster.
And I will tell you, there was a guy I worked with at the Target up on Bellway 8. His name was Morgan. Shout out to him. Dude, love you, man. You are awesome. You know, we need to hang out somewhere sometime. But I did the same thing with him. I said shit. I said stuff about slavery and all that, and he would just crack his ass up laughing.
Wait, you talking about slavery?
Yes, I did.
I think we need to find some more new friends, Todd.
And you know, it's like it wasn't like I didn't like bring up hardships or anything, you know, because because that's the one thing, you know, you don't say hardships about it because that was a tough life.
Yeah.
For them back then, really,
So,
really tough life.
So I'm taking it that Morgan is African American. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And the funny thing is with him, he admits that sometimes he even hates his own race. I mean,
you know what? Now that you mentioned it, me and Cookie talk about that too. So,
but I mean, I've even said shit to Oscar and all my other friends, and they just cracked up laughing. So, and then we have our friend Ray Herrera, which is, you know, nobody is off limits to that man.
Isn't the one that who called him? I think it was Ducky. Called him Ray the Gay.
Ray the Gay.
Okay, whenever he said that, I thought he was just calling him gay in a disparaging way. But I didn't know until that moment that I asked Ray. I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm like, it's not cool that he's calling you. He goes, oh no, I'm gay. I'm like,
I'm gay.
I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. It's like, oh, and then like again, it switches back to what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you joke around like that and you know that they're not trying to harm one another,
exactly.
That means you're not only comfortable with the person, but they know that you're not trying to be an asshole.
Mm-hmm. And trust us, Ray will fire right back at your ass, and he will find the most fucked up best way to burn your ass.
Not in the flaming way.
Not in the flaming way, no. But the dude is freaking absolutely hilarious.
He's ruthless when he asks me.
He is completely ruthless, and I have not seen him since last time I saw him was last year's Houston Horror Film Festival.
Dude, okay, I was gonna ask you about that. You made him cry, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you make him cry?
I can't even remember her name now.
But she was like a TV personality or something, or an actress?
She was an actress. She was a horror actress, and it was the very first actress. Her horror movie was the very first horror movie he ever saw, and it's what made him
a horror fan.
A horror fan. And she came to the Houston Horror Film Festival. And I told him about it. I told him about it months in advance, and he saw that she was coming, And he
without you knowing about his,
without me knowing about it.
Yeah.
And he told me that was his favorite horror actress. And so I was a few months into working with Frito-Lay. So I had the money at the time, plus with still like some of my COVID money left over and all that.
Stimulus, you mean?
Stimulus, yes. Forgot it. Yeah, stimulus. What I did, and one of her co-stars was there with her too. So what I ended up doing was I bought him and his fiance Eli.
Cool dude. No, he knows Myra.
And he knows Myra too, which is oddly enough. But
I have a story about that. I'll tell you in a minute.
I got them both of them the picture with both of them, and the cool thing was you paid one fee, but both of them could go in and take a picture. And here's the other cool story about this. His fiance Eli is deaf.
Yes.
And they have a pet. And for the longest time, Eli wasn't sure how to communicate with their dog. I believe it's a dog. Well, Ray's horror idol happened to write a book on that. How to help actually not on that specifically, deaf communicating with their dog.
But ways of doing it.
But literally different ways of doing that. And I walked up in the middle of Ray telling the story, and she absolutely loved it. She absolutely loved it. Eli thanked her. I mean, they bonded, and Ray taught her a little bit of sign language too, so she could say stuff to Eli, which was great, and of course, those two were kind of mad at me because I told them, you ain't paying me back. So, I'm still waiting. We're supposed to meet up for dinner sometime, go out to dinner sometime, but it's just, I think our schedules have just been pretty crazy right now, so.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully soon, Ray and Eli, if you're going to listen to this podcast.
I hope they do. And honestly, I'll say this, Todd. You make dreams fucking come true. When you told me that, I was like, dude, you go above and beyond for your friends. You've done that for me, you've done that for Tony, you've done that for Henry, Ray, I bet, and there's other people I don't even know that you've done that for. And that's super admirable of you.
I had a coworker at Topgolf, his name's Dylan. Aaron from Fast and Loud and a couple other car shows. I think it was just before COVID started, and he was going to be at one of the auto shows. Mm. Well, it was the only day that my friend was at work. I happened to have that morning off that I went, and I went later on of course I went in that evening. Mm-hmm. It was Aaron Kaufman is his name. And knowing that my friend Dylan was going to miss it, of course he was signing free autographs, Aaron Kaufman was. Mm-hmm. So I asked him could I have a second one for a friend of mine at work, for a coworker. And he's like, yeah, sure. What's his name? And told him his name was Dylan, how to spell it, and he signed it, and I handed it to Dylan, and it's like, when I got to work, he's like, dude, really? I'm like, yeah, because I know you weren't going to be able to see him, because on Friday, I knew you were going to be able to see him, and I'm not going to be that jerk that's going to be like, oh, hey, Dylan, I got Aaron Kaufman's autograph, and not get you one. Aaron Kaufman is pretty cool. And then also with Caleb, our friend Caleb, I got him John Bernthal's autograph from the very first Comic Palooza, I believe, or not Comic Palooza, Fandemic I worked. Mm-hmm. which was great.
Aptly named. It was before the pandemic, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had 2 before the pandemic. And there were supposed to be they were going to originally have a third, but the pandemic, of course, canceled that.
The actual pandemic.
Yeah, the actual pandemic.
I feel that I'm gonna say this now, ladies. My friend is super cool. I vouch for this guy. If he needed something, I'll be right when he needs me. Even if his dad doesn't want to have any already parked in his vehicle, even though he hates that store so much, I was still willing to do it. I'll even spray paint it orange so he thinks that it's AutoZone. The fact that you go above and beyond for your friends is super admirable, super cool, and that's why we all freaking love you for it.
Yep.
So and no lie, that's the reason why you're here tonight, because I felt happy that you considered me someone to watch the football game with.
Yeah.
And
I mean, any of our friends, if Anthony, and Caleb, and all them wanted to join us, I mean, Joey, even though Joey's a Cowboys fan, but hey, it's all right.
The fact that we were able to actually get this to happen, and not only that, like I was like, you had good food. I didn't know you were super hungry. I didn't know that. Until you told me, dude, I am starving. Oh, dig in.
I worked my butt off today, so I was hungry.
Well, I'm glad you were able to enjoy the food.
Oh yeah, food is good as always.
So I think we're gonna wrap this up in a little bit because I know you gotta leave.
Yep.
I know you have to drive back. But Todd, I really want to thank you for coming over. I had fun watching the game with you tonight.
Oh yeah, the game was great.
Is there like anything else you want to tell the nice people on YouTube? Or I don't think it was ever end up on Spotify, but just in case, like, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, all good. Oh, please stop asking where the Fritos are. We are trying our best to get Fritos in. These people, y'all, I said it's funny. The things that Texans love are, of course, Texas, guns, football,
Frito chips,
barbecues. Actually, I forgot about rodeo. And Frito pie. And it was funny. I played a game with friends from all over the world, from all over the continent, and one in Australia, and she asked what Frito pie was. And I explained it to her.
You gave her the dirtiest look you've ever heard.
Well, no, this is just an online game, and we just chat over Discord. And I told her what Frito pie was. She goes, so it's not an actual pie crust? I'm like, nope, it's just the Frito chips with the chili, and then you can add like cheese if you want to it, or jalapeno, or whatever. So I mean, she never heard of Frito pie before.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you, I hadn't thought about it. Imagine if the Fritos were actual crust.
You have to find a way to do it.
Of course, just put in a puree machine and then pack it in. And...
You could, yeah, it'd be interesting.
All right, I usually do this cooking thing notes on my phone, but since I'm using it as a podcast, phone, leave a note, personal note, Frito pie crust with actual Fritos puree. Okay,
you have to try that.
End note. Oh wait, was that Shazam?
Yeah.
Oh! Did they show this today?
And he's gonna have the.
Wait, did they show this today?
Shazam, it's gonna be. Oh, it's
Batman?
all the DC movies together. All the DC movies coming out in 2022. So.
Flashpoint Paradox?
Yeah, I don't know if they're. Another Aquaman coming up.
Hawkman! Black Adam! Oh my god!
Dr. Fate, and
Oh!
you notice who's playing Fate.
Pierce Brosnan.
Perfect.
Look at all the different flashes! Oh my god!
Perfect. I'd have to say that even over, Ben Affleck was a really good Batman, but having Pierce Brosnan playing Dr. Fate, that has got to be the
Perfect.
absolutely most perfect casting that any comic book movie has done, especially DC.
I have one better. I have one better. Hugh Jackman as Logan.
Yes, Hugh Jackman was really, really good as Logan, and it's crazy because I know there's a lot of people that
Could have done it.
could have done it, but it's like
When I first saw him, I was like, that's fucking Wolverine.
it was casting. But the funny thing was, they originally wanted Bob Hoskins to play Wolverine.
Wait, the guy from Roger Rabbit?
The guy from Roger Rabbit.
Oh, man.
The really bad cult classic live action Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay, that has a special soft spot in my heart, though.
I mean, yes, it does with me too, because I actually do have the DVD. I have the DVD, which now I want to watch it now.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The fact that you're talking about Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, very excellent casting, as you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Did they show this commercial today?
I don't think I saw it today during the Super Bowl.
I would think they did it in the beginning of the game.
Probably did maybe before the game, probably.
Because I think they showed that one, and if I'm not mistaken, they might have showed the Doctor Strange one, because I heard that one came out too. But yeah, like those, oh fuck, a lot of good movies. Oh, and also congratulations, Todd, on your next big hit movie, Jackass Forever. You did amazing job. I know those stunts hurt, but the fact that you managed to take it in the nuts really shows how much of a professional performer you are.
You're welcome, sir, and thank you for the compliment. Even though I've thought I took so many shots to the head during the shooting of that movie, I don't even remember what happened. So.
Oh, if you watch the movie, it'll tell you.
Which I'll probably forget like 2 minutes after the movie's over. So, I am so far. I'm gonna add one video game that I'm actually pretty hyped for. There is finally going to be a sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4.
Ooh,
Turtles
yeah. I've been watching the post you've been doing. They just recently announced Master Splinter.
Yes. So far, there are, of course, besides Turtles, you have the additional to be playing April O'Neil, which has, oddly enough, some Street Fighter moves, esque moves,
Like Chun-Li and Cammy, I think, moves.
Got a Cammy move. Kind of a Chun-Li move from the movie game.
That's a weird reference, too.
It's a weird reference, but yeah, it was first, like, the one move, and even, Flying Peach.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But then you kind of see, but then also it's kind of explained too, because then if you see this trailer of Splinter's movements, there are a couple moves that he does that April does. So it seems like, truthfully, that Splinter's been teaching her all these years.
It's been implied that she trained with Master Splinter some moves, in some of the, and even in the cartoon iterations, not the original, but when it was like the year 2003.
Yeah.
Whenever that run came out, like I remember that was happening. So the idea that game's coming out with a new thing,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many more people they're gonna add. I hope they add Casey Jones.
They need to add Casey Jones.
I think they might make him DLC.
They'll probably make him a DLC. Yes. And I know for a while it was only announced it was going to be Switch and Steam, but then they just recently announced it's going to be for
the major consoles as well.
PS4, and just so far PS4 and Xbox One. They have not made the announcement yet for the newer consoles. As far as I know.
No lie, I think they'll still work.
They'll probably do some sort of. They'll probably will do it for the reverse compatibility mode. So
I think they'll do it like they did with the last previous games that they've done with both consoles. If you have the latest iteration, like say PS4, you automatically get the next version to kind of like be put in there.
But yeah, that's gonna be awesome. It's actually from the same people that did the recent Streets of Rage game.
Oh, that was really good too.
Streets of Rage 4, that was really good.
That was really good.
It was a lot of fun.
So okay, so you're in the. I know you're into Ninja Turtles. I know you like doing, you like playing those games. Do you like playing the arcade games?
The arcade games, yeah, the arcade games are fun.
Do you have Fightcade?
I do not have Fightcade.
You need to get Fightcade number 2. It has those ROMs on there.
Nice.
And we could play that online if you want.
Sweet.
So, and it works as long as you have a computer that runs on Windows 10. It'll play it. So, if you get yours done, I got mine done. If Tony can get his done, maybe we might throwing Caleb in there too.
Yeah.
We can have 4-player Ninja Turtles
and
online.
I'm also actually working on another computer build that's kind of halted right now. I do need to get some more parts. I'm pretty much just short of memory and a hard drive.
I'll have a hard drive you need.
Is all I need. I don't know how big of a hard drive I'm going to get yet, but I'm actually kind of planning to maybe see if Game Guys would install like a whole bunch of arcade games on the hard drive, so that when next time y'all are over, bring your sticks, plug it in, it'll be hooked up. I'm going to plan on having it hooked up, leaving it hooked up to the big TV. So then next time you guys are over,
you always play off of that.
We can play off that too, which would be a blast.
That would be fun. We need to do another meetup soon. We need to do another one.
And I am definitely planning on one of those games. Of course, it's Jackie Chan's Fist of Fire.
Okay, so that's on Fightcade as well. So if and I saw it the other night. I hadn't played it yet because I'm still learning. I want to learn the button layout and everything. I want to be able to play Henry in that game.
Henry's good.
I know he's good.
Henry's good. I know firsthand. The first Texas Showdown I ever went to.
I got so mad.
Which, unfortunately, my friend... I was supposed to be sharing a hotel room with my friend Oscar.
Yeah.
But Oscar couldn't make it because I think of work reasons.
I was working at a place that did not give me the days off. I was working at Chevron, at the Chevron plant.
Yes.
So I could not. Originally, we were going to share a room, but unfortunately, I couldn't get that done.
So that year, I ended up staying with Henry, and there was a guy there that had a modded. I think it was a modded PS3 that had a bunch of games on it, and they used his console. They allowed him to hook up his console to test the stream. And for 2 days straight, me and Henry, the first day, me and Henry tested the stream. And he saw Fists of Fire on there.
So we gotta play this one.
And me and Henry sat up there until they started the tournament. And that's all we played was Jackie Chan's Fists of Fire. And eventually, the first day, we started getting a crowd because then there was another couple other people that were playing that were also testing out the other strain. But me and Henry the first day had the most people behind us just watching us play this, and the game is broken, but it is so much fun. You got 3 different Jackie Chans, and then they got characters. There's actually characters from a previous Jackie Chan game, fighting game on there. So I mean, it was great. And then the second day we got up there, and we just continued playing, and pretty soon, me and him started noticing we had a line built up behind us.
Oh.
Of people that wanted to play. And it was great. Everybody took their turns. It was the best 2 out of 3. What's up, Coco? And it was just an absolute blast to play. I guarantee you, if you have Fightcade and you have a chance to download this game, play it, get friends on there, and just learn how to play the game, because it would be great to have a Fist of Fire tournament. And I recently played it at a local retro game shop that builds arcades.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed after playing Vampire Savior, they had it on there. I'm like, and a couple of the people at the time, the people that were in the store, running the store at the time, had no clue it was a game. They had no clue about Jackie Chan's Fist of Fire.
Isn't it crazy that some people don't know what they own? Like in Kansas, that happened to me when I went to a shop. People didn't know how to use an arcade stick.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "You like, mind if I use it?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know if it works, so let me see it." Tested it out, played a game, doing moves. Oh yeah, it works great. Like, you know how to use arcade stick? I'm like, yeah, it's fun. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally like, you don't know what you have until somebody actually can use it. So whenever Fightcade has a whole bunch of arcade rounds on there, so you can actually play a lot of stuff. The reason I'm bringing up Fightcade is because I've recently been bit by the Third Strike bug, and not because of the popularity going on with it right now or the stuff that's been happening. I was playing Third Strike Online Edition on PS3,
mm-hmm.
and somehow I think I found a glitch where I did the guild trial instead of a Dudley trial.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about it is that I have footage of it. But you know how I got that footage though? The PS3, you cannot get footage unless you're using the composite cables, right? The red, white, yellow cable, AV.
Mm-hmm.
I got the footage through the HDMI.
Nice.
I figured out how to do it. And I was just doing it, and it's on YouTube if you want to see it. Like, I actually was going through the stuff, trying to figure out how to do, getting the footage, make sure everything was working.
Mm-hmm.
As it was recording, that's when the thing happened. And when it happened, I was like, okay, that's, I didn't know that wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Henry told me, hey, that's not supposed to happen. Like, oh, well then, okay, I was not aware of that. And because of that, it kind of sparked an interest in me to play those games because one, I'm not playing 5 as much because the Pro Tour has been bad.
Yeah.
If they do another online Pro Tour again, I'm not gonna play 5. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna start playing regular games again and have fun with them. And Third Strike was the one that came in mind. So I'm gonna give that a fair shot. I'm actually gonna go to a tournament hopefully next Saturday. Hopefully I get to go and compete in Austin.
Be nice.
But yeah, it would be cool. But yeah, and it's on Fightcade and people play there all the time. So I recommend it.
And I played it on the Steam version.
Oh, the 30th anniversary.
The 30th anniversary, and that's the crazy thing is, I usually don't do like the difficulty settings, like raise the difficulty settings during the arcade mode all the way up. But the crazy thing is, I did it on Third Strike.
Oh shit!
I played the arcade game at every setting. practiced on a 1, beat it on the 1, beat it on 2, beat it on 3. 4, I started running into a little bit problems, of course, with the final battle. And I beat it on the 4, beat it on 5, beat it on 6, 7. I get up to 8. Each time took me a damn good while. And the same thing with it on 8, and I was able to actually beat it on every single difficulty setting.
So you managed to beat Third Strike at the highest difficulty setting. All right, I have yet to do that. So now that you're telling me this shit, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to do the same because I am not gonna be passed up by Todd.
It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but
It's always been a pain in the ass in that game, though.
The fact that you actually, so you know a little bit of Third Strike, then you know at least a
little bit. Yeah, it's definitely
a little bit.
It was more trouble on the arcade stick, but the hitbox, I play it on a hitbox, and I really, really need to get a hitbox that I could be on PS4 and possibly even PS5 on.
Well, the good thing is, if you get it for the PS4, it will work for the PS5.
That is true.
It will work.
So, hopefully I can get that working, because I find it actually, to me, much easier to do it on the hitbox setup than on the stick. And of course, it was my character's Ryu, so a lot of fun with Ryu on that game.
What's interesting on that is because of the fact that you basically turn your parry into a button. And I didn't really implement parries. If you've seen any of my old footage of me playing Third Strike in the past, I hardly ever parry. And now, I parry a lot more now.
The parries are tough in that game, too.
It's tough.
With the stick, and it's all about timing.
It's getting the read.
Getting the read, getting the timing, kind of similar to the V shift on 5. Getting the read.
So, once you get that, that's when the game becomes fun. And honestly, I'm only going to the Third Strike tournament because, one, I just want to honestly, I low-key want to see my brother. That's the whole point I'm going. I just happened to be happening that weekend. So I'm going to go over there, spend it with my brother, spend the night over there, and then come back the next morning. And
shout out to Julian, man. Love you. You need to come down, and hopefully one of these times I can head up there to Austin and see you.
Yeah, if you let him know, he'll probably help you out. Say, hey man, you can go over here, you go over there, you can stay with me for the night. You know what he tells me? You're cool people. You don't say that about a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
He knows how cool you are. So for that fact, I would say that,
And honestly, I think I may be one of the few people that have actually pissed both him and Oscar off on Street Fighter games.
Oh man, you got me because I was sleeping on you, man. I was like, I gotta lose this cracker, and
it was freaking ITT. It was the first day we met,
and you beat me, and he broke the streak.
He was on a 9-game.
You remember the streak number? I forgot.
It was a big streak. It was over 10.
I thought I was gonna be undefeated in ITT Tech forever.
And it was my first time. I think I remember oh, Street Fighter 4, can I play? And you're like, sure. And all of a sudden,
you motherfucker.
You're like,
they didn't just happen in Street Fighter 4. It happened in Third Strike 2 over there too.
Happened in Third Strike?
Yeah. It was my first time playing it, and then you beat me and Javier.
At ITT?
Yeah, and then
Game Guys.
And then Game Guys happened, and I'm like, oh my god. And then Street Fighter 5.
Street Fighter 4.
You already said 4, 5, 3. I keep thinking it was Alpha. You got me an Alpha. I'm like, oh my god, how's he beating me in these games? And you don't beat me like repeatedly. You beat me once.
I beat you once in my wins.
King of Fighters
are once far in between.
But when you win, you win. And then when you beat Julian, that one was funny. You got him to sit up.
Oh my god, I remember that day. Julian was just kind of sitting back.
He was laying back playing,
and I start all of a sudden, you could have probably just felt Julian just go, all right, let's go.
And he sat up, and I'm like, oh boy, you pushed his button.
Oh, it's so fun pushing buttons.
Julian was like, he gave me this like, all right.
I go, Julian, now you know how Oscar felt that one time I beat him as Cammy.
And he's like, yeah, I know.
Son of a bitch.
He goes, with Julian, didn't realize then is that, or people tend to forget, Todd kind of learned from me on how to have a certain style, but I forget how I play.
Mm-hmm.
Because I became more reserved over time. Actually learned stuff.
Yeah.
Todd didn't do that. He's more heart.
I'm more wing it.
Yeah, he more wing it, and he'll make it hurt.
If I hit, yeah, I'll make it hurt. And it's like one of my favorite moments in 5 was I can't remember the name of the player I was playing, was Akuma, and he got me the first match, and then I got him the second match.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the second match I got him. I can't remember. Maybe it was it was the first match we drawed.
Mm-hmm.
The first match, he beat me first round. I beat him second round, and I did Abigail's charge, and I came in, and I was about to punch. I hit the punch, and he jumped at the same time and threw out his kick at the same time, and we hit each other at the same time, double KO.
Mm-hmm.
And then he beat me the second match, and then I beat him the third.
Mm-hmm.
We basically drawed at 1-1.
Wow.
It was insane. I'm like, dude, couldn't get much more perfect than that. I mean, it was just, it's been my best match. Of course, I've had comebacks. Even asked Oscar, I think one time I was a Buki, and you were killing me as Akuma.
Mm-hmm.
And, I finally got pissed off and frustrated at you, and I just started my comeback, and it was just basically all he had to do was just one hit, I would have been done.
And that did not happen.
It did not happen. Like, son of a bitch, pissed me off.
I distorted the footage, so it never happened. No, he came back, and I was like, oh my god. And the way that he did it too is like, I had the health lead. He kept peppering me, and then all of a sudden he was with critical art. And because Akuma being a glass cannon, I'm dying super hard. And then all of a sudden Todd just steals it. I'm like, oh my god. This happened online, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened online.
It happened online. I think it was me, you, and Anthony or Caleb.
I think it was the first time I came back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my god. I got surpassed by Todd. But it goes to show how good of a player you've gotten over time, because you start to recognize a lot of the setups. Now you're like, I could have done this, I could have done that, and I'm like, you know what? The fact that you realize that you can do it, that shows progression. So so now you know what you're doing.
I said my favorite thing now that they really implemented is the V shift. And
that thing is so good.
That thing is, especially with Abigail, because it actually puts the opposing player, I guess, in the negative. I believe when you hit them with it, if you time it right and hit them, it knocks them back, and it takes them a good while for
Think about it like this.
Back up.
Think about it like this. If, let's say it was a parry mechanic, if you were to attack and then you parried, the animation will still keep going as if the hit's happening, but then the recovery kicks in. V-shift makes things a lot slower, leaves you not only at positive where you can be able to move around, but your opponent will still be at negative, depending on which button they use. If they use like a light button, like a jab or a light kick, they might recover in time. But if you go like with a heavy attack, you're stuck for like 4 minutes and you can't wait to get hit. So the idea of like all these things changing, and honestly the game's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't play it online, and as a result, that's the reason why I'm playing more like I'm playing the classic games right now.
Like my favorite thing to do with that is after I hit somebody with V shift, and Oscar could attest to this, is going in the Abigail charge, and Abigail will meet the player right there just as he gets up,
Mm-hmm.
and you just hit that grab button, boom,
Throw
throw him up in the air. I mean, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It actually, what was that? Oh, it reminds me of Ultra
Yeah.
with that the movie you could use to then help you, like you could like super into it after.
FADC?
Yeah,
Or you talking about focus?
focus.
Like the charge up move?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, focus, yeah. You know what? I still haven't learned how to do. I can do some FADC,
Mm-hmm.
like where you could cancel with 2 bars and go forward.
Yeah.
I feel like once I'm done getting my third strike fix, I might go back into that game and learn that because
Mhm.
I want to learn. I want to learn the actual what you call it, Evil Ryu loop combos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can do it. I think enough time has passed for me to actually try it. But all right, well that's about it. I know I said goodbye about like 30 or 45 minutes ago.
But then we get caught up on video games and fighting games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It happens.
I do appreciate you coming over here. I do love you, man, a lot.
Of course.
Be safe
Definitely.
going home. Say hi to your family for me.
Will do. They said hi. Also.
Tell them I say hi too. Like
Will
they're welcome over here too whenever they want to come by.
Cool.
But in any I'm watching some on the news.
Mm-hmm. But I will throw in one thing. For Drop the Spotlight, I will be covering at least one day, March 5th. Pasadena's got a brand new anime festival coming. Animeverse Fest.
Anime what?
It's called Anime. I think it's called Animeverse Fest.
Anime verse as in universe.
Yes.
So it's Animeverse or Animeverse?
Animeverse. And Fest. Yes. And we're gonna have big one, local band, and someone I'd like to think is my friend Christopher Sabat.
Is
gonna be there.
He's gonna be in Pasadena.
He's gonna be in Pasadena.
Oh, he's gonna be so disappointed in Pasadena. I'm joking. I'm sorry, Pasadena. I'm playing with you.
And a bunch of other voice actors from My Hero Academia. If you're a big fan of that, they're gonna be there as well. As I said, it's a 2-day event, March 5th and 6th, and I will be there. So watch out for my live streams from Animeverse, and also I will be upcoming. Also again helping Drop the Spotlight. The guys will be coming from San Antonio for the Houston Horror Film Festival, and the weekend before that will be Comic-Palooza, and it's actually sounds like, since I did such a great job covering it last year by myself, because much of the guys from Drop the Spotlight couldn't come in from San Antonio, that I will be covering that again. And they will actually be sending somebody there. She's a cosplayer and also a photographer that will be there with me.
A totally unrelated note, Todd is going to help me be in those events. I'm going to be helping carrying bags and possibly bring nachos to the celebrities. Maybe. No, but that's cool that you're doing that. Like, it's actually really neat that you're doing. Like, I think I told this to Tony. I'm like, it's weird to think of Todd being any cooler than he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made a joke of this. Whenever Bai Ling was there, And I jokingly said, "All right, Todd, shoot your shot." Todd basically went up to her and talked to her. He didn't ask her out.
No, I didn't shoot my shot.
Yeah, but you did break the ice and actually spoke with her.
Spoke with her about Brandon Lee.
Yeah, and that was neat, and that's actually a cool story.
It is a cool story. I guess I'll.
Well, if you do that story, they leave.
So
It's not for real.
I asked her how was it like working with Brandon Lee, and she said, he was awesome, but at the time, I didn't speak very much English. So, like, when he came up to me talking English, I didn't understand what he was saying at first. And then he started talking in, I think she said it was Cantonese, I think it was.
Mm.
And she was totally shocked that he fluently spoke the language. I have to look up something too real quick.
If you don't know who she is, she was in Star Wars episode. She was one of the original Star Wars movies. Not the original, but the ones that came out in like in '99 or 2000. I think she was in episode 1 as one of the Jedis.
She was in that. She was originally in.
She was in that movie with Jason Statham, the Overdrive, or what was it called?
And of course, she was in The Crow with
What?
Brandon Lee.
Yeah. The Crow.
And
Brandon Lee is the son of Bruce Lee.
Brandon Lee's the son of Bruce Lee, and that's the crazy thing is like he's told her who his father was, and she had no clue who Bruce Lee was at the time. Like, and she was talking to her manager, and I can't remember if there was a nickname or if it was his actual Chinese name.
The Chinese name, because he was already famous in China.
Yeah, so
he was a famous child actor.
So
Bruce Lee, of course.
Bruce Lee, of course. So her manager told her his Chinese name, Li Junfan, and then it dawned on her. And next time she talked to Brandon, she was, yeah, I know who your father is. And she just said that he was so nice, so caring, and a very loving person. And when he died that day on set, it was sadness for everybody. But she told me that she believes when somebody dies, they never leave, that their spirit sticks around and watches over the ones he loves, and she always feels like he is there with her, watching over her, keeping her safe, which was a very, very cool and awesome story. I mean, I got other stories about this year's Comic Palooza, or this past year's Comic Palooza, but I will save that for another time.
Yeah, we'll do another podcast and then another time to actually talk about the many adventures of. I'm more curious now that you told me these stories. Like, I don't know how many times you've interacted with these voice actors and actors, and the fact that I know somebody that actually talks to these people a little more often than none. So I want to be able to have another podcast with you just to talk about those things and just basically have the Todd edition.
Next month will be my 4th time seeing Christopher Sabat.
I need to get tickets to go. I was like, I always see doing things like I want to go to this event. So I think I'll probably might ask you where I can get tickets and I can be able to.
You can go for Animeverse Fest.
This is not sponsored by them by any way, of course. I'm not saying you. I'm not. This podcast is not sponsored by them.
No.
But Todd is talking about stuff that he likes.
And it's fun. And definitely, if you go to these cons, don't, yes, buying the tickets in the VIP is cool, but you're really honestly only getting half the experience. Because yes, you get to go up and talk to these celebrities, but then you have to move on. You have to, you got other people waiting for you in line, after you. to meet these celebrities as well. Volunteer. They're always looking for people to sign up. Comic Palooza, I think, just started posting their volunteers. I think Animeverse Fest right now is still looking for more volunteers. And I believe also, I think Houston Horror Film Festival.
I ain't doing it now. I'm more of a pussy on that. I don't like scary movies.
Is coming up. And sign up. I mean, you get to really spend more time with the celebrities. You'll actually be in their booths. You get to basically talk to them all the time. And they're so awesome. They're so much fun. And they're people, basically, they're just like us. I mean, I've met Christopher Sabat 3 times. Instead of coming as my 4th. Michael Rosebaum, you may know him as, back in the day, Lex Luthor from Smallville. He also has his podcast, which is really, really great. And after a while, these celebrities start remembering you, after you've seen them. And it was crazy. I was actually surprised Rosenbaum remembered me, because it was a good 3 years since I last saw him, which was the very first pandemic when I met him. So, I mean, these guys are great. Every single one of them. It's the most fun you'll have. You'll absolutely get more of the full experience by volunteering instead of just dishing over the money and going. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage you from paying money for the passes and all that, but yeah, definitely volunteer. And it was funny, one of my cousins in Louisiana 1 year volunteered for a con that stopped by, and she said she had an absolute blast.
That's cool.
Doing it, so definitely do it.
That's really cool. That's very good advice to give. And on that note, we will go ahead and actually end this podcast this time.
Finally.
Because we're about, wow. It was supposed to be 45 minutes. We've gone an hour and 42 minutes.
Yep.
42 as of now.
I got to be at work at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so we got to say goodbye to Todd. Thank you again, my friend. Thank you for coming
as always.
Over. Love you.
Yep. Love you too, buddy.
All right, guys. So we'll see y'all next time. Remember, keep on fighting fighters. And if Todd has a goodbye catchphrase.
Bye. We're good. I don't have a catchphrase yet, so I'll think of one for next time.
You'll be with next time. All right. All right, guys. I'll take care of yourselves. You have a good week. All right, bye.